The crime drama Kojak, 1973–1978, became a television classic, thanks to its gripping storytelling and the unforgettable performance of Telly Savalas as the tough, charismatic detective Theo Kojak. Alongside him, a talented cast of supporting actors and guest stars brought the gritty streets of New York to life, making the show a standout in TV history. Sadly, many of these incredible performers are no longer with us. In this video, we remember 37 actors from Kojak who have tragically passed away, looking back at their careers, contributions, and the circumstances of their deaths. Join us as we pay tribute to the stars who helped make this series an enduring classic. Telly Savalas played Lieutenant Theo Kojak in Kojak, 1973, at 51, portraying a charismatic and tough detective with a lollipop who always fought for justice. While Kojak was a no-nonsense character dedicated to his work, Savalas' personal life was filled with emotional turmoil. He was married 3 times, each relationship ending in heartbreak. His first marriage, to a woman named Katerina, ended in divorce, and his second marriage to actress Marilyn Gardner was short-lived. He had 5 children, but the emotional strain took a toll on him. The loss of his son, along with the difficulties of his third marriage, weighed heavily on his life. Savalas was later diagnosed with bladder cancer, and after a long and painful battle, he passed away on January 22, 1994, at 72, leaving behind a legacy of complex emotions and unfulfilled personal happiness, despite his professional success. Kevin Dobson played Detective Bobby Crocker in Kojak, 1973, at 30, portraying a dedicated and ambitious young detective eager to prove himself under Kojak's mentorship. While his character was full of energy and hope, Dobson's own life was far more complicated. His first marriage, to a woman named Susan, was marked by tension and eventually ended in divorce. Despite his public persona as a rising star in Hollywood, Dobson faced private struggles with depression and loneliness. He later remarried but continued to grapple with a difficult relationship with his children and the weight of personal health problems. In his later years, he was diagnosed with an autoimmune deficiency, which severely impacted his health and led to ongoing medical battles. Kevin Dobson passed away on September 6, 2020, at the age of 77, after complications from his condition, his career and personal life overshadowed by years of physical and emotional pain. Dan Frazer played Captain Frank McNeil in Kojak, 1973, at 52, serving as the steadfast superior to Kojak, balancing the pressures of leadership with his loyalty to the detective. While his character appeared calm and in control, Frazer's personal life was deeply troubled. Known for his struggles with alcoholism, his addiction led to multiple failed marriages and a strained relationship with his children. Despite the success he found in his acting career, these personal battles never ceased. Frazer found it difficult to reconcile his public image with the private turmoil he faced, which included deep depression and financial troubles. Even as he continued to work in television, Frazer's personal life remained a series of emotional and familial breakdowns. He died on December 16, 2011, at the age of 90 from cardiac arrest, leaving a legacy marked not just by his acting achievements, but also by the heartache and inner battles that defined his later years. George Savalas played Detective Stavros in Kojak, 1973, at 49, portraying a loyal and compassionate cop who could connect with the people of New York. Behind his on-screen image, George's life was filled with emotional struggles, particularly his battle with alcoholism. Despite finding success in his acting career, he experienced a string of failed relationships and marriages, which left him distant from his children. His personal demons led to him being isolated from his family and friends for long periods, as he struggled with addiction and financial difficulties. In addition, George's health began to deteriorate, and he was eventually diagnosed with leukemia, which ravaged his body. Despite undergoing treatment, he could not escape the grip of his personal and physical battles. George Savalas died on October 2, 1985, at the age of 60, his life tragically cut short by his battle with leukemia and the lasting impact of his addiction. Roger Robinson portrayed Gil Weaver, a dedicated detective on Kojak starting in 1973 at the age of 33. Gil Weaver is a sharp, insightful, and loyal detective, always standing by his colleagues and exhibiting a strong sense of justice. Robinson's career was steady, with roles that highlighted his versatility, but his personal life was filled with heartache. He was married twice, both marriages ending in divorce, and struggled with estrangement from his children. A particularly painful chapter in his life came when he lost a sibling, a tragedy that haunted him for years. As Robinson aged, his health began to decline, leading to complications from heart disease. He passed away on September 26, 2018, at the age of 78. His death came after a long life filled with emotional scars, personal loss, and health struggles, reflecting the same strength and perseverance that Gil Weaver demonstrated on screen, but also the profound difficulties Robinson faced behind the scenes. Borah Silver played Prince in Kojak, 1973, at 46, a streetwise informant who helped Kojak in his quest for justice. While Silver's character was resourceful and vital to the story, his personal life was overshadowed by struggles of his own. Silver went through 2 marriages, both of which ended in divorce, leaving him emotionally scarred. His addiction to alcohol, combined with his financial issues, made it difficult for him to maintain relationships with his children. Over the years, he became increasingly isolated, and the weight of his personal battles began to take a toll on his health. In the final years of his life, Silver found himself grappling with depression and loneliness, even as his career continued to offer him roles. Borah Silver passed away on December 25, 2013, at 86, from natural causes, but his later years were marked by a series of emotional and financial struggles, leaving behind a complex legacy filled with unfulfilled potential. Nick Dennis portrayed Constantine, a recurring character in Kojak, at the age of 70. Constantine added a colorful, lively dynamic to the portrayal of New York's working-class community, but Dennis' life was tragically different from the vibrancy of his on-screen persona. Dennis had been married twice, with his first wife passing away at a young age, forcing him to raise their daughter on his own. This loss left him emotionally shattered, and as his career progressed, he found himself increasingly isolated. Financial struggles compounded his pain, leading to a life filled with depression and anxiety. Despite his spirited presence in the series, Dennis spent his final years alone and burdened by the emotional weight of his past. He passed away on November 14, 1980, at the age of 76 from natural causes. His death marked the end of a life defined by personal tragedy and a sense of loneliness, despite his work offering a glimpse of joy and warmth. Bruce Kirby portrayed Sergeant Al Vine, a dedicated member of Kojak's team, at 48 years old. Sergeant Vine was known for his attention to detail and commitment to his team, but behind his professionalism, Kirby's personal life was marred by grief. His first wife passed away early in their marriage, leaving him to raise their children alone. This loss deeply affected Kirby, and his second marriage also ended in divorce. As a result, he became more withdrawn and struggled with emotional and psychological pain. Despite his long career and continuing success on screen, Kirby's personal battles with depression and his deteriorating health overshadowed much of his happiness. In his later years, he dealt with significant physical ailments and emotional pain, and on January 24, 2021, at the age of 95, he passed away from natural causes. His death marked the end of a long life filled with quiet sorrow, loneliness, and the weight of personal loss. Darryl Zwerling played Agajanian, a minor but memorable character in Kojak, at 50 years old. Zwerling's career in supporting roles never reached the same prominence as others, but his personal life was full of greater struggles. His marriage ended in divorce, and he became distanced from his children, which led to years of loneliness and emotional pain. As he grew older, Zwerling's financial and health problems worsened, and he faced his later years in isolation. His depression deepened, and he struggled with the feelings of regret and loss. Zwerling's life was a somber reflection of the difficulties many face behind the spotlight, and he passed away on April 11, 2014, at the age of 85 from heart failure. His death was the final chapter of a life marked by emotional and physical decline, with few to mourn him, and a legacy overshadowed by personal heartache. Victor Campos portrayed Detective Gomez, a reliable member of Kojak's team, at 38 years old in 1973. Gomez was hardworking and steadfast, always willing to support his colleagues no matter the cost. However, Campos' personal life was fraught with struggles, including the collapse of his marriage. After his divorce, he faced the painful loss of contact with his children, which deeply affected his emotional well-being. Throughout his later years, Campos was haunted by depression and a sense of alienation. His health began to deteriorate with the diagnosis of prostate cancer, which ultimately took a toll on his body and mind. Campos spent his final years battling cancer, and on December 4, 2018, at the age of 83, he passed away from complications of the disease. His death was a tragic end to a life marked by both professional dedication and profound personal turmoil, reflecting the quiet suffering many experience off-screen. Ken Kercheval, at 38, portrayed Teddy Maclay, a minor but memorable character in Kojak. Maclay, while not a central figure, contributed to the dynamic environment of the series, giving Kercheval a platform to showcase his ability to play diverse characters. After Kojak, Kercheval found greater fame on the soap opera Dallas, where he became known for his role as Cliff Barnes. Despite these successes, Kercheval's life was far from a fairy tale. He faced tumultuous relationships, including a marriage that ended in a bitter divorce. He was also estranged from his children for many years, which weighed heavily on him. Kercheval's struggle with alcoholism added further strain to his personal and professional life, and while he continued to act, his personal demons often overshadowed his career. He died on April 21, 2019, at the age of 83 from pneumonia, leaving behind a career that was plagued by personal struggles and the inability to maintain lasting connections. Alan Manson, at 55 years old, portrayed Lieutenant Steve Nicola in Kojak, 1973–1978, a series where his character, a capable and authoritative police officer, operated within the gritty world of crime fighting in New York City. Though his role as Lieutenant Nicola was relatively minor, Manson brought gravitas to his character. His career, however, was filled with challenges. While his work in television, particularly Kojak, gave him recognition, Manson struggled to find significant roles afterward, often relegated to supporting characters. His personal life was marked by turmoil. His marriage, which began with high hopes, ended in divorce, and he faced financial difficulties, which left him living a life that was far from the career success he had envisioned. These personal and financial issues weighed heavily on him, contributing to a growing sense of dissatisfaction and isolation. Alan Manson passed away on March 5, 2002, at the age of 83 from natural causes. Carole Cook, 53, played the vibrant Marie Stella on Kojak, adding an engaging layer to the series. She had a long and varied career, appearing in various films and television shows, but her most prominent role in Kojak brought her widespread recognition. Off-screen, Cook faced emotional challenges, particularly in her personal life. Her marriage to actor Tom Troop ended in divorce, and she never remarried, leading a solitary life for much of her later years. While her professional career flourished, her personal life was marked by an underlying sadness and loneliness. Despite these struggles, Cook remained dedicated to her craft, performing in theater and television up until her death. She passed away on January 11, 2023, at the age of 98 from heart failure. Her passing, though due to natural causes, marked the end of a career that was lived largely in the shadow of personal heartache and isolation. Tige Andrews, who was 54 years old when he played the tough, experienced Sergeant Geno Polucci in Kojak, became known for his no-nonsense attitude and steadfast loyalty to the team. While Kojak was his most prominent role, Andrews' career struggled to maintain momentum after the show ended. He took on various television and film roles, but none could match the success he had on Kojak. In his personal life, Andrews faced numerous challenges. His marriages were fraught with conflict, and his health declined significantly as he grew older, battling severe health issues. His later years were spent in relative seclusion, and despite his legacy as a tough, reliable actor, he dealt with the disappointment of unrealized potential. Andrews passed away on January 27, 2007, at the age of 86 due to cardiac arrest. His life, filled with unspoken pain, reflected the complexity of a man whose strength on screen was contrasted by his personal vulnerabilities. Jerome Guardino played the bartender in Kojak in 1974 at the age of 51. His character was a minor but significant presence in the background, contributing to the gritty atmosphere of the show. Despite his memorable role, Jerome's career never truly soared, often being relegated to secondary characters or small roles in TV and film. This led to a sense of frustration as he felt his talents were underappreciated. Jerome's personal life mirrored this unfulfilled career trajectory. He was married twice, but both unions ended in painful divorces. His relationship with his children was strained, particularly with his son, who struggled with addiction and legal issues, causing great emotional turmoil for Jerome. In his later years, Jerome faced the isolation that often accompanies aging, with few close relationships and a fading career. His health declined in his final years, and he became reclusive, only occasionally appearing in public. Jerome passed away on January 4, 2020, at the age of 96 from natural causes. Kenneth McMillan played Lieutenant Becker in Kojak in 1976 at the age of 44. His character was a tough, no-nonsense officer, known for his dedication and straightforward approach to his work. However, Kenneth's own life was far more complicated. Married to actress Kathleen McMillan, their relationship deteriorated over time, marked by constant arguing and eventual separation. Kenneth's personal life spiraled further when he struggled with alcohol, which took a severe toll on his physical and mental health. His relationship with his children was strained, and his health worsened rapidly after being diagnosed with liver failure. Despite a successful acting career, Kenneth's life was overshadowed by personal demons, leading to isolation and depression in his later years. He passed away on January 8, 1989, at the age of 56 from liver failure, his early death a tragic end to a life marked by professional success but personal turmoil. James Louis C. portrayed Captain Henry Hank Rousseau in Kojak in 1973 at the age of 45. His character was a tough, no-nonsense officer, embodying authority within the police department, but James's real life was far less stable. Despite his strong on-screen persona, James battled a series of personal struggles throughout his career. His marriage to actress Annette McCarthy ended in a bitter divorce, leaving him with feelings of loneliness and betrayal. Although he had one child, his relationship with his daughter was tumultuous, with frequent arguments and emotional distance. Professionally, James faced significant career setbacks, with his later roles being less memorable and not reflecting his early promise. His personal life suffered under the weight of alcoholism and an overwhelming sense of inadequacy, which affected both his career and his family life. Tragically, after a long battle with cancer, James passed away on June 7, 2002, at the age of 73. Leonardo Cimino portrayed Ruby Kabelski in Kojak in 1974 at the age of 57. Ruby Kabelski is a vibrant and complex character, providing emotional depth and a touch of intrigue to the show. While Cimino's role was brief, his presence left an impact, yet his own life was far less fulfilling. He struggled with personal hardships, particularly in his relationships. Although married for many years, Cimino's marriage ended in divorce, and his family life became strained. He never fully recovered from this loss and found himself emotionally isolated. He also dealt with severe health issues in his later years, particularly chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which left him physically weak. Despite his contributions to the film and TV world, he spent his last years in relative obscurity and frailty. Leonardo Cimino passed away on March 3, 2012, at the age of 94, from complications related to his lung condition, leaving behind a legacy that was often overlooked despite his distinguished career. Vincent Baghetta portrayed Arnold B. Saxler in Kojak in 1974 at the age of 37. Saxler is a minor yet memorable character who added to the dynamics of the show's gritty environment. Baghetta's own life, however, was far from as controlled as his on-screen character. Despite starting strong in his career, Baghetta faced a series of failed relationships, one after the other, leaving him emotionally scarred. His troubled personal life led to a failed marriage and the dissolution of the family he tried to build. He was estranged from his children, and the bitterness of these separations overshadowed much of his achievements. As the years wore on, Baghetta also struggled with health problems, and the joy he had once taken in his work dissipated. He died on May 9, 2017, at the age of 79, from a non-communicable disease. His passing was a quiet one, and although his death marked the end of a long life, it was tinged with the sadness of unfulfilled dreams and broken personal connections. Sidney Clute played Barney Sullivan in Kojak in 1973 at the age of 57. Barney Sullivan is a seasoned and trustworthy officer, an embodiment of reliability within the police force, always ready to provide guidance. Clute's career spanned across television, but it was often overshadowed by personal misfortunes that marred his personal life. His first marriage ended in an acrimonious divorce, a blow that weighed heavily on his heart for years. He remarried, but this second relationship was also strained, and Clute faced ongoing emotional turmoil. He had children, but his distance from them only deepened the void in his life. His personal and professional life became increasingly disjointed, especially as he battled a relentless fight with cancer, which drained both his strength and spirit. Clute passed away on October 2, 1985, at the age of 69, succumbing to the illness that had dominated his last years. Jason Wingreen portrayed the first reporter in Kojak in 1973 at the age of 53. Although a minor background character, the first reporter played an essential part in contributing to the bustling atmosphere of the show. Wingreen's life was marked by his remarkable longevity, but it was also full of emotional struggles. He was married, but his personal life was far from blissful. His marriage ended in an emotionally draining divorce, and he found himself estranged from his children, which left him devastated. As Wingreen aged, he began to suffer from the psychological effects of isolation, compounded by deteriorating health. Despite the professional recognition he achieved, his later years were spent quietly grappling with depression and a sense of failure. Jason Wingreen passed away on December 25, 2015, at the age of 95, from natural causes, leaving behind a legacy of work that never quite captured the emotional toll of his personal battles. Victor Argo portrayed Joseph Crespi in Kojak in 1973 at the age of 39. Crespi is a hard-edged, street-smart character, often caught up in the criminal underworld. Argo's personal life, however, mirrored the complexity of his on-screen persona. His first marriage ended bitterly, and he faced a series of rocky relationships throughout his life. Despite his career success, Argo struggled with intense loneliness, compounded by a series of personal losses. He also had to battle with smoking addiction, which led to the development of lung cancer. Despite the many roles he played and the respect he garnered for his talent, his personal demons never left him, often overshadowing his professional accomplishments. His death came far too soon, leaving many to mourn what might have been. Victor Argo passed away on April 7, 2004, at the age of 69, from complications of lung cancer, a tragic end to a career marked by profound struggles both on and off the screen. Joseph V. Perry portrayed Bancroft in Kojak, 1974, at 64 years old, bringing life to a minor but important character who added depth to the series' portrayal of New York life. His career spanned decades, yet he never quite broke into leading roles, often finding himself cast as older, more experienced characters who were left to support the main players. In his personal life, Joseph's romantic relationships were equally as unfulfilled. He married twice, both unions ending in divorce, the second marriage falling apart due to infidelity and betrayal. His greatest personal tragedy came when his daughter, Emily, died suddenly from a rare illness at just 19. Joseph never fully recovered from the loss, and his health began to decline shortly after. Despite his many professional accomplishments, his personal life remained a series of heartbreaking moments, and his later years were marked by isolation. Joseph passed away on February 23, 2000, at the age of 89 from natural causes. Richard Carlin played the role of the captain in Kojak, 1974, at 55 years old, portraying a stern and authoritative figure in the police department. The character was pivotal in setting the tone of the precinct, a no-nonsense leader who commanded respect, yet his role was always overshadowed by the more prominent characters of the show. Richard's career, while steady, was often relegated to supporting roles, rarely allowing him the spotlight. Off-screen, his life was marked by a series of failed marriages, with his third wife leaving him after years of emotional and financial strain. The pain of these relationships weighed heavily on him, especially when his only son, Michael, suffered a tragic accident and died at the age of 21. His grief consumed him, leading to a decline in both his health and career, as he struggled to regain his sense of purpose. Richard passed away on September 10, 2004, at the age of 85 from natural causes. Frederick Coffin played Lieutenant Lee in Kojak, 1976, at 33 years old, portraying a dedicated and hardworking officer, committed to the ideals of justice and order within the chaotic world of law enforcement. His performance in the series reflected his natural talent for playing serious, morally upright characters. His career was marked by a constant battle for more significant roles, as he was often overlooked for leading parts. He married in his late 20s, and the couple had 2 children, but the marriage deteriorated over the years, largely due to his wife's mental health struggles. After their divorce, he was left to raise their children alone, an emotionally taxing responsibility that took a toll on his health. Frederick also battled a series of health issues, including chronic lung problems that eventually led to diagnosis with lung cancer. The disease, which he battled privately, ultimately claimed his life and he passed away on July 31, 2003, at the age of 60, from lung cancer. Who is your favorite character in Kojak? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.